And back here at TD Bank Ballpark, tonight's game has been suspended. They waited for a while, probably a good hour or so, and they have just made the announcement that tonight's game is suspended. So we will be back with you tomorrow night. This is a 3-3 game in the 6th inning, and we do know that it will not be made up this weekend. It is going to be made up when the Revs are here in September 7th, Friday night, the opener of that series. And from what I understand, it's going to be a 4 p.m. start that day to resume this suspended game, and then they'll play the regularly scheduled game that night. So, well, unfortunately, the fact that Matt Oberste hit a 2-run homer in the 6th inning to tie it makes the game suspended rather than a Revs rain-shortened win. But then again, the Revs scoring 2 unearned runs in the top of the 6th inning, which led to Oberste's home run tying it, not winning it for the Patriots in a rain-shortened game, so it could have been worse. The interesting thing about suspended games, these stats won't go in at all until September 7th when the game is completed. And what's strange about it is once the game is completed, all the stats happened, quote unquote, back on August 17th. So if somebody's in the midst of a hitting streak, about 3 weeks later it could be impacted. It is one of the goofy things about stats in baseball, and we know what a numbers game this sport is. But again, tonight the game's suspended 3-3 in the bottom of the 6th inning, and it's the second suspended game for the Revs this season. It has not happened often in their history. I want to say, without checking quickly, maybe the 6th time in team history, but second time this year with all this terrible weather that we've had here this summer. But the quick recap here tonight: Somerset scored a first-inning run on a Ramon Flores sac fly, but Logan Williamson allowed only that run after having bases loaded, no outs. Then in the second, having bases loaded, no outs, he allowed no runs, due in part to Matt Oberste trying to score on a line drive to right, hesitated, got in a rundown, and turned what could have been a sac fly into a rundown throw out at the plate. And the Revs had Williamson get into a pretty good groove from that point, and Melky Mesa tied the game in the 4th inning, launching a towering home run to left center. When play begins tomorrow, though, he will still have 14 home runs, not the 15th that he hit with the home run that he connected on in the 4th inning tonight. That won't show up for him until September 7th. But the Revs then took the lead with 2 unearned runs in the 6th. The throwing error by shortstop Alfredo Rodriguez with 2 outs brought 1 home. And Wellington Dotel, an RBI double to right field, brought home another run. And the Revs were up 3-1, and Williamson dealing, and you felt pretty good about it there. But Ramon Flores led off with a single in the bottom of the 6th, and then with 1 out, it was Oberste connecting on the 2-run homer to left center to tie things up. And that's where this one will leave off. 3 runs, 9 hits, 1 error for the Patriots. 3 runs, 6 hits, 1 error for York. And we'll pick it up. I think it was a 1-2 count. They turned the scoreboard off, but Pacioli, the hitter, with Scott Kelly at first base, and 2 outs in the 6th inning when the game resumes on September 7th. So it's also in Revs history, I can think off the top of my head of 3 suspended games that have been made up within a day or two, or resumed within a day or two. This is only the second one that comes to mind that was made up a significant amount of time later. There was one at Southern Maryland a few years back where actually Telvin Nash had a home run that didn't go into the stats until 3 to 4 weeks later when the game was resumed. But with an iffy forecast the rest of this weekend and some of the promotions that they've got with fireworks tomorrow, they don't want that to be pushed late. Sunday is a 5:05 start. I believe they said salute to veterans, I think I heard them say, which would involve a lot of pregame festivities for that. So that might be as big a reason as any, along with the iffy weather the remainder of this weekend, to not resume it this weekend, but to push it off until September. Well, 3-3 games suspended in the 6th, and we'll wrap it up for you tonight with an updated look at our York Mitsubishi out-of-town scoreboard. New Britain beat Long Island 7-5. Southern Maryland in 7 innings tonight. I guess that was rain short, and they beat the Road Warriors 14-2, scoring 9 runs in the 2nd inning. And Lancaster, a 4-1 win over Sugar Land tonight, scoring 4 unanswered late in the game. By the way, not only was that Lancaster win a comeback, New Britain's win was a comeback. They were down to Long Island 5-0 in the 5th and scored in the final 7 in that one. So obviously for the Revs, they want to see both Long Island and New Britain lose. That can't happen this weekend, but New Britain does get the opener in that series. So the standings at the conclusion of play tonight: Long Island and the Liberty now 22-14. It's a game and a half lead over Somerset. New Britain is now within 4.5 in 3rd place. Freedom Division 2nd half: Sugar Land now 25-12. Lancaster is within 4, having won their 6th in a row. Revs are 7 back in 3rd place. And in the overall standings, if that second wild card spot does open up, Long Island's lead is trimmed to 1.5 over New Britain, and right now 2.5 over the Revs. That is where they are at their closest in pursuit of a return trip to the playoffs this season, but would need that second wild card spot to even become available for that to take place. Well, again, tonight, suspended game, 3-3 in the 6th inning. We'll be back with you tomorrow. We'll be on the air at 6:45 for the pregame. We'll have our Troy Tersey interview, which we had the youngster join us on the pregame. Had a conversation with him earlier tonight. We will air that tomorrow. 7:05 is our first pitch time. Jay Goss is expected to go for the Revs, and Somerset has yet to name their starter. They've had some injury situations, but that's what we're looking at tomorrow at 6:45 our air time. Hope you can join us then. And also tomorrow morning, tune in 8 a.m. Penn State football around the corner. We've got our latest episode of Keystone Kickoff, brought to you by Neighborhood Sure Save Markets. Until tomorrow night, Darrell Henry saying so long from TD Bank Ballpark. Again, a suspended game in the 6th inning, 3-3 our score. And we'll talk to you tomorrow at 6:45 for the pregame, right here on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Thank you for listening to the Atlantic League champion York Revolution on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. Catch the Revs all season on York's only place for local sports. Tune in 20 minutes before first pitch for a trip to the clubhouse with player interviews and the manager Mark Mason every game. Listen throughout the day for the Revs Report and check out WOYK1350.com for highlights and features on York's pro team. The Atlantic League champion York Revolution, all season on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports. Now we return to our regularly scheduled programming already in progress on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK, York.